If you're a new day trader and you're struggling to know when to use indicators and which ones to use and also how to use them, then this video is for you because we are going to talk about the 8 different indicators that I've used in the past, including the ones that I use now as a full-time pro day trader. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Lakeisha Tomlin. I am a former engineering manager turned full-time day trader. And now I show people how to become a day trader profitably in 60 days, sometimes less. So stick around to watch the entire video, mainly because you'll get so much out of this. I really wish somebody broke it down when I was learning, and now you'll have this for free on YouTube. And if you're new here, go ahead and like this video and then also subscribe to the channel because your engagement really helps other people find this content. So please leave a comment below and let me know what you liked about the video or what you would want to see in the future, because I'm always getting ideas from you all in order to create new content. I only want to make things that people actually want to see. So every video here is something that probably somebody suggested. So go ahead and leave a comment. I read all of them. So let's jump into the video so that way I can break down the 8 different indicators that I use, and we're gonna do that over there on my computer. Okay, so now we're at my computer and I'm going to show you my favorite 8 indicators that I like to use. They're all very simple. I don't like to complicate my trading at all. So let's jump right in. So the first 3 that I like to use are the EMAs. So EMAs stands for exponential moving average, and there are some other moving averages, but generally they're all about the same. So when it comes to the 3 that I really like to use, we're gonna go over here and pull this drop down. And the first one is the 21-day EMA. So this is that blue line, and you'll notice that it's the closest to the actual candles. So it just kind of, all of these EMAs are basically just giving you price data. So they tell you about the average price within the 21 days, the 50 days, and the 200-day moving averages. So for instance, like I said, the blue one is the 21, the red one is the 50, and the 20 or 200 is this green one right here. And basically, you may have heard of something called the golden cross. So basically right here, the golden cross is happening here because the price is going up, and then there's the I forgot the name of it, but basically if it crosses and it's heading down, then it's not so good. But basically, I don't really look at the crosses all too much, but I do like to know what is happening to the price, and I like to know what the price is currently in relation to maybe 21 days ago, 50 days ago, and 200. So these are the top 3 EMAs that I use. You can use more or less. Generally, I mostly use the 21 or the 50, but I really like the 200. I took it out for a while, but I brought it back just because I really just like to see where price was about 200 days ago. Okay, so the next one that I like to use is the sessions indicator. Now, if you're trading something that's on the regular New York Stock Exchange, it may not be all that helpful because it's only trading during the stock market hours. That's Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Until later in the afternoon. For this is for the East Coast. So anyway, so it may not be all that helpful, but let's turn it off. But if we're looking at something like oil, or something in the Forex market, this is going to be really, really helpful. Now, I know that Tradingview has their own sessions indicator, but I really don't like it just because it doesn't help me at all. But there's a sessions one, and let's take a look at it really quick. If we just go to the source code, then you will see the name of the oops, I don't want to make a copy. You'll see the name of the sessions indicator that I'm using here. I haven't really found a better way to figure out which one it is outside of that and then just going into the indicators. But basically, it's sessions by Ujuku. I don't know. Anyway, so I really like this one. Mainly, let's go into some of the settings. So they have all of this: New York, Sydney, Tokyo, London, open and close, and I don't need all that information. I'm mostly focused on London and New York, and specifically when it crosses over. So you can set these colors to anything you want. And if we zoom in just a little bit, let me use the let me just keep doing it this way. So you can see that the way I have my color set up, this green is London, this lighter blue color is the crossover from the London session to the New York session, and this darker blue is the New York session. So it's really helpful for me to see what is happening during this crossover period mostly, and the New York session, because that's mostly when I trade. Sometimes I will trade the London session, but these days, based on my schedule, it's pretty rare. So these sessions are really important for me, especially when it comes to Forex. Now, if you're trading something like gold or different currencies, this is definitely going to help you. And as you can see, it's just blank in these other times. I've blocked out the Asian and the Sydney sessions because that doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't want a whole bunch of colors on my screen for things that I don't look at. So that is the fourth indicator that I use. So on my charts, you may have noticed that I have some lines going on here. Let me just clean this up a little bit and turn off the sessions, because sometimes it can be a little distracting, but it is helpful. So we're gonna hide it for right now. So I do use trend lines. I don't use them all that much. I used to use them a lot more when I was first trading, but now I kind of use the trend lines as complementary to other things, and we're gonna show you those other things really quickly here. But basically, when it comes to drawing trend lines, it's cool to see where the price is headed. So for instance, we have a touch here, we have a touch here, and we have an almost touch there, and it crossed right here. So if you want to draw the proper trend line, you want to make sure that there are at least two touches, but you want that third touch to confirm the trend line. And as you can see clearly here, it's in a downtrend, and I have these multiple touches here along this trend line, including a crossover. So I also like to, with my trend lines, because sometimes there can be a lot of things happening on my charts. So just to give you a quick understanding, I do like to add text, and I make it as tiny as possible, so that way if I'm looking at it, I know exactly what it is, what time frame, and it'll all make sense to me. And sometimes I remove these indicators. So for instance, like the EMAs, I may remove these just because I want to keep my work session, if you will, this chart, as clean as possible. And I do have a set of lines here. I am one of those traders who trades from zone to zone, so I like to keep those on my chart, because basically it tells me where I am in the session, and it really helps me when I plan trades. But so those lines pretty much stay on here, but basically these trend lines, sometimes I keep them on, sometimes I may hide them, and just kind of get them out the way, and then I may hit Command Z on a Mac in order to undo the action I just did, especially if I need to remove the trend line for a short amount of time. So another indicator or tool that I like to use is the Fibonacci retracement tool. So let's go to a cleaner setup. Let's go to this apple. Okay, great. So I really like using Fibonacci retracement tool, mainly because Fibonacci retracement tool only tells you about the potential pullback of a particular trend. So for instance, in order to use this tool, all you gotta do is, let me highlight it again. So say for instance, if I wanted to measure this, so I start at the bottom and then I put this right at the top. Now I'm using a line because, for instance, I may only want to focus on the closed price, but say if I want to look at both the highs and the lows, then I would just switch back to candles and then move this up. So most times when I am measuring, I am using the candles, but sometimes I will use the lines. But since we got the candles up, let's just flow with that. So as you can see with my Fibonacci retracement tool, I only have the 38.20%, the 50%, and the 61.8%, as well as the 100, or actually the 0 and the 100% lines. And that's mainly because I don't want a lot of clutter. So when it comes to the Fibonacci retracement tool and the defaults that are in Tradingview, I basically turn those off. And if you want to see my settings, here they are inside of Tradingview, and sometimes or actually you can't really see it, it's out of frame. I do have these extended Fibonacci retracement lines, mainly because sometimes, or most times, when I am taking trades, I am basing my profit targets off of market structure, and sometimes I will base them off of these Fibonacci extension levels. I find that the Fibonacci extension levels are really helpful, and for me, they seem like conservative levels. So that way so I kind of use it in conjunction at times with market structure in order to make sure that I'm not being too greedy, and the Fibonacci retracement extension levels definitely keep me in check when it comes to that. So that's how I use it. Of course, this is a tool, use it however you want. You may use it differently from what I use, but I really like the 27.2% extension and the 41.4% extension. So like I said, here are my levels, so copy those if you want. And let's go to the next tool. I want to clean this up. So the other tool that I like to use, let's see, let me turn this off, is, oh wait, actually okay, cool. So the other tool that I like to use are some of my defaults, and as you probably saw, when I clicked on these indicator templates, I actually have these saved. So I have my 4 simple indicators, and basically it's the stuff that we talked about and we're getting ready to talk about right now. So I like having this set up for each new market instead of manually doing it every time, and it's really simple to do. So all you have to do is put your indicators on your screen and then save indicator template. I'm not going to hit it because I've already done it, but basically you give it a name, and then every time you open up a new market, you click on your template and bam, it's there. I really like it. It is such a time saver. So when it comes to, we already talked about the EMAs, so we're gonna hide these for right now. And we're also gonna turn off sessions. So we already talked about those. But basically I like to use the volume, and this is a special one outside of what is provided inside of Tradingview. It is the volume with alerts. So I like it because you can set these numbers, and I don't think I've really changed these from the defaults. I leave those alone, but the thing that I really love about this indicator is the fact that when there are high volume moments, that these colors turn red, and you can see that these lighter colors, it's kind of when volume is gradually increasing, and then this darker blue is basically low volume. So I really like this indicator because it gives me a sense of when there's a lot of volume. And of course, for you day traders out there, you know that a lot of volume can mean a lot of money for you in the market, because there's a possibility that the price will hit your target price much quickly than if there was low volume inside of the market. So I really like this indicator a lot. And let's go over to my indicators. Move myself out the way. So I have some favorites here, but basically it is the, let's see, I believe it's this one. Let's see, actually let me search for it. With, oops, I saw something start. Okay, here it is, volume level with alert from Trader X. So this is the one that you want to be looking for when you are looking for this indicator. All right, and the next one that I like to use is RSI. I don't really use it all that much for everyday trading, but I do like to look at the RSI to see when something is overbought or oversold. And generally that means that there is a probability that, say for instance, if it is oversold, that the price may be heading down. So I really like to use this mostly on higher time frames just to see if it may be time for me to short something or go long. And let me double click on this so you can see my settings. So I have my settings right here, 14.2, and then I use the SMA, which is a simple moving average. Like I said, they're pretty much very similar. So RSI length is 7, and I focus on the close price. So if we look at the style, basically what I have is for my upper band, I have it at 80, and then my lower band, I have it at 20. So as you may have noticed, this is a little bit different from what you see in terms of typically this upper band is 70 and this lower band is about 30, with the middle band still being about 50. And basically when it comes to these numbers, I like to see when it's really overbought or really oversold, because it is a strong indication that something may be happening soon. So that's why I have my numbers much higher than usual. So if you use any of these indicators, feel free to let me know down in the comment box below. And of course, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and then also hit the subscribe button so that way you can get more content like this. And then there should be some extra videos here on the side, so go ahead and check any of those out, especially if you like this kind of content, because it's more of this content going in depth and teaching you about some of the basics of day trading. See you next time.